What is meant when we're speaking about unconditional love? Do you know what that is for yourself? Not as an intellectual concept, but as the ground of being itself, the ground of everything, the ground of yourself. What are you made of? What is the highest truth that you can imagine being? When we say that we love somebody or we love something, where is that love coming from? It has to have a beginning. It has to have a place where it is sensed from. And what is that? When I say beginning, I'm not talking about something in time where there's a beginning to projecting love, which is what most people do, which means that there's going to be an end. The original beginning, the source itself. Everything is birthed from somewhere. And it's not such a spiritual concept as it's just the truth. Where is everything arising from? Including the sense of love. What I feel is that love is an emanation from our own beingness, that we can't help but be love, and we can't help but love. Who knows about when that actually began? Did it happen as soon as you became a something, conceived and birthed and have a body? Or did that happen before? But where did that come from? Your parents are made of love. And if you came from your parents, in terms of your body, you're made of love. And so it goes. The earth itself, she's an alive being. I say she because things get birthed out of her, so I say she. Whether there's a she or not doesn't really matter. But it's life, and it's alive, and it bursts things, just like we do. And what is the material of birthing? Where does it come from? I'm just getting curious about it. Within oneself, it's like tapping into what we are in truth. Remembering what we are in truth is reconstructing a sense of what we are. We are, fill in the blank. Many people say love. Some people will say God, but what is God? And love has a feeling to it, doesn't it? Because we are sensing beings and we have a body and we can sense into things. So there's actually a felt sense of what love is. And love is unconditional. Within the unconditional, conditional arises. So the conditional, perhaps, birth of conditional love, meaning that we love that's born in time and ends in time, that's conditional, but is born in something deeper and larger, a container that is deeper and larger, that holds and everything that arises out of. And that ground of being, that true nature, that some people call God, self, that out of that arises everything, including unconditional. The feeling moving through your body of what unconditional love is. And so I think how it works, perhaps, is that we just make up our minds. Not so much intellectually, but just stop looking for it in our minds and just know You are unconditional love. End of story. And unconditional love is allowing. By its nature, it's allowing. Have you noticed how allowing the earth is and how everything happens here? Life and death and beauty and tragedy and all kinds of things are happening right here, and it's all being allowed. So what allows? The unconditional nature of life allows. What is unconditional through and through, without conditions, okay? Which means everything's allowed. From there arise preferences and what we do like and what we don't like, what we want to allow, what we don't want to allow, what we say we love, what we say we don't love, what we say we like, what we say we don't like. All of that is allowed in the unconditional substratum of reality. So placing attention on what always is no matter what's happening, from the moment you were born until the day you die. What always is the same. What's always the same throughout, this thin thread that continues like a line throughout your life, that is always present to itself and always the same. It's always been there. And that has been pure allowance and pure unconditional in its nature. And when we tap into that, when we tap into what is unconditional, there is this open-ended quality that begins to blossom. It opens up and blossoms within us. And that's the viewpoint, that's the lens that you begin to see life as, in and through, as unconditional. Unconditional love. Unconditional by its nature. And you don't have to call it love, you can just call it allowance, something that doesn't have a preference. But when you tune into it with your senses and with your body, there's a beauty in it. And it resonates throughout one's being. So the way that I feel about it is I might not like something, and I might not even like somebody, or an event, or something that's happening to somebody, or to myself, something that's happening, or pain. But there's something already now that knows that there's a love for it. No matter how much I might not want it, how much I might not like it, there is an unconditional, loving openness towards it. So it's not turning away from it, but towards it. And turning towards things rather than saying no. So tapping into what we are already, which is unconditional in its nature, it brings what we are into the forefront so it can actually start to live in and through us. So that unconditional truth that we are, it begins to suffuse and permeate our lives. And it changes things radically. It changes us. We get permeated. We get saturated by the truth of things, that we are love. And we get to have the lens, the seeing, the heart seeing, the mind seeing, even where there's peace here. And the heart seeing where it's unconditional in its nature towards one and all, even when we don't like things. That doesn't mean we approve. And we can have our preferences. All that is still there, right? So it's like saying a yes, but no's are contained in the yes. It's such a big yes, actually. It's a big, big, big yes, where all the no's are contained. So the no's are allowed. It's not the other way around, where no is the primary way of being and yes is allowed and love is allowed. It's reversed. Yes is the primary way of being, love is the primary being, and everything else is permitted. You could just see how everything rises and falls indiscriminately in its original form.